Mr. Jain and Mr. Iyer, you were both in Davos trying to talk to investors about the potential of the India growth story. And let me start by asking you, Mr. Jain, in light of all of the measures that have been taken, what was the feedback that you got about India's competitiveness, specifically from a manufacturing standpoint? Is there anything more tangible, specific steps that investors have put on the table that the government is working on?
I think this will be a pretty longish answer if you can, but...
Is that a long list of demands that have been made?
No demands, the kind of work which has been done. So first and foremost, I would say the kind of structural reforms which have happened, the policy governance reforms which have happened, add on that the rule of law which we have in our country, add on to that demographic dividend, add on to that the best part, talented youth of the country. So this is what is going to drive the India's growth for next 25-30 years. The startup story we all know. So all this growth will be driven by, to our mind, knowledge, innovation and sustainability. And our startup ecosystem is doing fantastically well on all these. They are providing frugal and innovative solutions to all these problems. So if you are solving a problem for India's scale, you are actually solving global problems. Next 4 billion people in the world, they are looking to those solutions. Like India's public digital infrastructure. That's marvelous. I don't need to get into this. That is something which is absolutely unique. Nowhere else in the world you have something similar. We have based all our systems on presence-less, cashless, paperless kind of systems. Plus, it is based on open source, open platforms, open network. So what happens, any new startup or any new person who wants to start his business, he can plug into this existing ecosystem. Rest of the ecosystem is provided by the existing system. So therefore, the entry barriers have been lowered substantially, and that is what is fueling the growth. So this is one aspect. The kind of solutions, when you are talking to Secretary MNRE, next important thing which is going to happen, there are companies in India which started as a startup, now they have really grown big, unicorns. The cost of 24/7 energy based on renewable energy, can you guess? 6 cents.
Wow.
This will excite the whole world. They have come out with designs. They are taking the renewable energy, solar, wind, everything, and using the pump storage with their improved efficiency design, which gives 81% efficiency. And they are giving firm power for 24/7. The real problem with renewable energy is this, that it is available only at certain time of the day. So they are spreading the risk by putting the solar and wind both. Wind comes in generally in the night, solar comes generally in the day, plus the storage. So even it out. So these are kind of solutions which are coming. You talk of anything, what India's startup ecosystem or young entrepreneurs are doing, it is pretty exciting. So it is a technological revolution which is happening in India. So most of the people are looking towards India as the real next place to invest in. I mean, you would have heard the stories from IMF that as the brightest... So all those things are happening. So most of the people were excited in Davos. They were looking up to India to invest. And when we asked, there are very, very minor issues like FDI policy. India is one of the most open economies. The list where you cannot invest is not there, where you need government permission or you cannot invest 100%. That is just less than a page. So I can tell you with confidence that India's FDI policy is one of the most open FDI policies.
You know, you spoke a lot about startups, sir, and this is a subject close to my heart. I've been tracking it for 22 years now. So one of the big asks from the startup ecosystem is this business of linking the certification by the DPIIT that clears you to actually be qualified as a startup and then avail of the kind of benefits that the government is willing to put on the table. That process is taking very long. There are very few certified startups. When can we see that change?
That we have tried to improve the process. Earlier there was one committee which was taking it. So till about 3 months back, there are two major advantages which they are looking for.
Yeah.
There are 3 levels of certification. First level of certification is that you just file and it's an automatical, you get it automatically. So there are about 88,000 startups which have been registered. So there's no problem in that.
Yeah.
Second registration is for angel tax, 56(2). There was some news items today that that has been done away. People are nervous about it.
No, it's just been parity. The non-residents have been brought.
No.
Yeah.
The problem came from somewhere, so therefore I would like to make that clear also on this count, that there is no change as far as startups are concerned. Anyone which has got a recognition of DPIIT for investing into that particular startup, the exemption under 56(2) continues.
Correct.
So that is there. So under that, more than 7,000 have got registered. There's absolutely no issue for 56(2). So first registration, which gives you benefits like GEM, startup, exemption from experience, net worth, turnover, criteria for participating in government tenders, that's available to everybody. This 7,000, I'm sure there is absolutely no hiccup. When you apply, you get it automatically. So it is only that the rest of the people have not gone to that stage where they want angel investors to come in or whatever. The last one, which was for ATIAC.
Yeah.
So by very nature also, ATIAC is something which not many people apply because they have to grow big before they apply.
Right.
But still our process was slow, and that was a complaint. Against about 2,500 applications, only 400 odd had been cleared. So what we did, we have now created 10 parallel boards to improve the speed. So in the matter of last 2 months, the approvals have gone up from 400 odd to about 1,200. And hopefully by March or April, we would finish the 100% pendency because we have multiplied our force by 10 times.
10 times, well.
And by taking the benefit of the experts in the ecosystem.
Right.
So we have divided the work into 2 parts. One, people who look at the innovation part, one who look at the genuineness of the company. Both the inputs come, our committee automatically approves it.
Well, that's good news, and that certainly is going to be relief to many who are waiting for that clearance. But Mr. Iyer, you know, the sectors that you believe at this point in time are poised to be able to attract foreign capital specifically. Of course, the hope is domestic capital will start to flow in as well. But really, from a manufacturing standpoint, in the conversations that you had, where do you believe we're likely to be able to draw in the investment?
Well, Shireen, as I think Anurag has stolen most of my thunder on Davos. He's already said whatever needs to be said. But in the many private conversations which I had and all of us had, there's huge excitement about investing in India. And, you know, the sectors are the sunrise sectors, but in particular in the digital space, in green energy, there's huge enthusiasm. And I think for a couple of reasons. One is India's credibility in terms of delivering large projects at scale on time. So I think this government has got a phenomenal track record of delivery on the ground. And whether you look at infrastructure, you look at the 70,000 kilometers of road, the numbers are very big. And that was hugely impressive for many people who hadn't really understood the delivery at scale. 400 million bank accounts. You look at 2 billion vaccinations. And the ability to do this with quality and on time, I think that was very, very impressive, and that resonates. But the sectors are the usual. In addition to that, on the energy front, you know, our record in terms of our NDCs, we are actually walking the talk on our climate commitments, unlike many other countries in the world. And I remember that discussion you moderated on looking at the whole, moving from looking at the adaptation.
Mitigation to adaptation,
Exactly,
yes.
mitigation to adaptation, which was put on the table at Sharm el-Sheikh. So again, on that front as well, I think there's a lot of confidence that, particularly now with India hosting the G20 presidency, the importance of putting these issues on the table, the ability for India to lead the global south, these were all issues which really resonated. In particular, what really excited them was the sort of alternate climate agenda put forward by the Prime Minister on lifestyle for the environment, of how India can lead the world in walking the talk on climate.
Mr. Jain, you know, the expectation was that we would hear from the Finance Minister about the progress of the Gati Shakti program in the budget, but that wasn't the case. So let me address that issue with you on where things currently stand as far as the Gati Shakti plan is concerned, what you've been able to do in terms of speeding out infrastructure development, cost savings, time savings as well.
I think the budget was Gati Shakti budget. What is PM Gati Shakti? PM Gati Shakti is basically improving the infrastructure for logistic efficiency. So the allocation going up to 10 lakh crore, I mean, sir has already spoken, so I will not repeat all that. So that is what is the focus on infrastructure. What is PM Gati Shakti? PM Gati Shakti is way of operationalizing your schemes in a manner which is whole of government approach, sharing of data using technology, designing, I mean it's planning and decision making being much faster, much better in quality. That is what is PM Gati Shakti. So what we have done on PM Gati Shakti platform, we have 1600 GIS layers, which have all kinds of things. You have a 3D visibility of the earth, you have visibility of existing infrastructure, the road, rail, the water canals, the gas pipelines, the telecom lines, etc. Whatever infrastructure. You have layers for forest, the mining leases which have been granted. You have GIS layers for the geological wealth which is underneath. So while you are planning your alignments for the infrastructure, you can make an optimized decision making. Like there have been examples where by realigning the project, the need for an forest clearance has been done away. So your project gets advanced by about 1 to 2 years. That's one part. Second important part in PM Gati Shakti framework is that we are putting the revenue layers also. All the states have been requested, about 12 states have already done it. Rest of the states are in the process of putting their revenue maps. So where the revenue maps are available. Say for example, I'll quote one. The road from Pune to Bangalore was being planned. So it passes through 30 different tehsils. So 30 tehsils means to create a land acquisition case, you have to go to different 30 tehsils if you go work the traditional way. Each case has to be made village-wise, so you finalize your alignment, you put on the map, find out who is the owner, and then come out. So it typically takes about 6 months to 1 year just to prepare the land acquisition case. Now, because the revenue maps are superimposed, actually it is a matter of hours that the output comes out. The case is prepared village-wise, name of the person, how much land, how much price it would, cost it would be for land acquisition, and the officer has to just sign it. So you gain in the DPR formulation, instead of 6 months to 1 year, it comes out in 2 months, 3 months. In case of land acquisition, instead of 6 months to 1 year, it comes out in matter of hours. So you are expediting, and the decision making is better. As I explained, you can avoid clearances.
Mr. Gupta, Mr. Iyer, Mr. Jain, Mr. Johri and Mr. Bhalla, what an absolute pleasure it has been. Thank you very, very much for joining us here on the Budget Verdict. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our guests here who've joined us to explain the priorities and the roadmap for the government going forward.